welcome back. Now it's time for us to get into some community-focused conversations, and well, the hashtag is Breakfast Daily. If you're watching us on any of our streams, the WhatsApp line is 0550-585832. Now, of course, it's a beautiful day here in Accra, Thursday. If you have any messages you want to send out to anybody, kindly send them to us on the WhatsApp line. Again, it's 0550-585832. Birthday messages, any shout-outs you want to give, I'll read them out here on your behalf. Now, for the last couple of days, we've been looking at Ghana Water Company and some of the challenges that they are facing. We've looked at the Ashanti region, we've looked at the Western region, and today we want to go to the Central region. And we have a report for you by our colleague and a correspondent there, Calvis Tete. And we want to find out the impact in the Central region of what has been happening in the Galamsey, outside the region and in the region, on the water bodies that they have to use to process water for the Central region dwellers. Let's take a look at this report. We'll come back and get into some conversations.
This is the Secherehimine treatment plant of the Ghana Water Company Limited, which lies between the Western and Central regions and supplies water to over 50 communities, including Infantsman, KEEA, and part of Cape Coast North and South in the Central region. The plant was established in 2008 by then-President John Ejekum Kufuor as part of efforts to supply potable water to communities in the region. Authorities say the negative effect of illegal mining, popularly known as Galamsey, is having an effect on their operations as equipments that have a lifespan of 30 years have been replaced. They say silt buildup at the intake point has pushed them to, on a monthly basis, go into the intake sump to manually desilt it to make water accessible at the intake point for onward action. The company fears if care is not taken, the country might import water for consumption. Here is Opoku Waridako, the regional production manager for the Ghana Water Company Limited, speaking to Citi News about their challenges.
If we compare two plants that we have in the Cape Coast municipality, the one that is affected by Galamsey, the cost is twice that of the one that we have at Brimso. So the effect of Galamsey in terms of production cost has doubled. Then in terms of equipment, the Galamsey is also having a serious effect on equipment. We are losing most of our equipment in no time. Equipment that has a life cycle of 30 years, now about less than 10 years, we are losing them and we have to replace them. And currently, we have even secured another batch of pumps that we want to replace with the current ones that we are using.
Communities within the Secherehimine enclave have resorted to the drinking of sachet water since the Pra River they drink from is contaminated. Others also depend on dugout wells for survival. Farmers also lament the lack of water to water their crops as they are contaminated.
First, nsuneni na ye kwanya nam nem kura utumi hu ukofuo ma utumi sebinum saa umfa eduro bianka na azuzu si Galamsey ama nsuneni na poto ase aye ko unuma utumi rani saa edumeku bi a Ghana Water Company ewo Secherehimine ha kura atiti a wo fam na nye smotin emre bi mekai se emre bi o machines nyina break it down enam saa Galamsey na nkrofo ye wo ho nti ama nsuoni disability na ekosoro nti ama nsuoni asai.
Galamsey ni de se ekosoa dia enya dia nsuo no ho boto no de se yin nsuo papa nso enu nti me fi se Galamsey ni se etutwa nche se aban bomodin na de adwuma ba ma se omo agya se adwuma na nche beboa
nti se isem pese mo num nsuo amenyiri se pra na mutumi num bio
de bi ntumi se omo sa ahura de akura mpo no mi omo nsa.
Ebusuya Penyini of Sechere State, Nana Rekwampem, laments the difficulties in fighting this menace. According to him, traditional authorities have on several occasions received death threats from Galamseyers.
I can't lie that there's nothing of that sort here. There are Galamseyers here. But I could remember the chief has been always bringing men here, you see, security men, to keep down the menace. But unfortunately, you see, they go away and then come back. So we, the authorities are trying to do everything right to get the water clean. But the little that we can do.
The Ghana Water Company Limited says it has been forced to pilot a new coagulant as a result of the current nature of water, which comes at a huge cost to the company.
Previously, we were using aluminum sulfate. By then, as back as 2008, when the plant was constructed, the color and turbidity was around 500 Hazens unit, and the turbidity was around 200 NTU. But for now, because of their activities, we are reading color as high as 5,000 and turbidity around 4,500. So removing it, you would have to quadruple whatever quantity with strict monitoring in order not to leave residuals in the water. And this comes with a cost. So removing the turbidity, we'll have to add more chemicals. And even now, we have just piloted a more powerful coagulants as a result of the current nature of the raw water called polyelectrolyte that can remove the turbidity and the color better than the alum. And that one, the cost per kilogram is about 4 times that of the alum.
All right, so there you have it. Not too different from what we've seen in Ashanti region, or what we've seen in the Western region, and now we're seeing this in the Central region. Very difficult images to see, considering that we pride ourselves to be very smart, intelligent people. And somehow we've been able to allow this rot and this mess to continue to this point, you know, and doesn't even seem as though it's going away anytime soon, you know, and yet we have all the beautiful laws in this country to deal with all different levels of this challenge. Question is, are we serious to really want to deal with this? How is it that regular water that has 200 MTU of, you know, turbidity that they can easily process and give us clean, potable water now has 5,000, 4,000 NTUs? You know, it's ridiculous. Anyway, let me say a good morning to Apioko. Hi.
Hi,
good morning to you.
Good morning.
I thought you'd be clad in the correct colors this morning. You know, as a wife of an Odadier, an associate. You know,
but I have my own school too. I also went to a school.
But your school wasn't featuring in the competition, so we are doing the association.
No, it's not that deep. I mean, I love my husband. I love pre-sec, but it's not that deep. So I went to look for a blue dress.
Yeah.
Well, I have blue earrings,
I can
so
see.
I think
I can see. I was just
that should suffice.
Yeah, I can see.
And breakfast daily has blue. It's enough.
Anyway,
that's serving a living God
and living in seventh heaven.
Yeah, and you know, my husband is actually in Kumasi. He went.
Okay.
Yes, he went for the competition.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
no, I saw him strutting in with Lexus Bill and the squad. I was like, hey, you people, I'm taking a thing World Cup.
Yeah.
No, but it's nice. It's nice.
It is nice to see.
I like the whole,
nice to see.
You know, we don't have in Ghana the affiliation that other, you know, Western countries have with their universities.
Exactly.
We don't have that.
Exactly.
Ours is at the secondary school level.
Precisely,
you know, and it's great to see that we've been able to galvanize this kind of movement where people really feel proud, you know, to to be part of
very true.
the alumni
very true.
of
And Presec, the alumni, they're very vested in what happens in the school. I mean, I guess that's the case for many alumni associations, but I mean, from where I sit, I can speak, for Presec, and you see the alumni even going back to coach the students.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow.
for the NSMQ. They've built the Alumni Center. It was built by the 1990 year group.
Yeah.
It's a multi-purpose, multifunctional, state-of-the-art, facility.
Yeah.
And they're there with it, bought them laptops so that they can study. They can. It's
I think it's a model that all secondary schools really need to look at, and encourage their alumni to come back and be properly vested.
Yeah.
Especially
with the kinds of challenges we're facing in our educational system. I tell my classmates and other people who I went to school with that for nothing at all. You put the name of the school on your CV. So it's in your interest. If you don't care at all, it's in your interest. If you want to be selfish about it, it's in your interest to make sure that your school is constantly in a good place.
Nicely.
Yes. So that when you show up somewhere, they see you, they say, you went to that school.
I know, right? Some way. Anyway, so Central Region.
Yes.
Ghana Water, same challenges, similar situations that we've seen in the Ashanti region, we've seen in the Western region. I think we should go around and look at all the other regions and see how they are dealing with this whole menace, But I keep referring back to the fact that we pride ourselves to be, very smart people who have been able to craft the most intricate laws. We have a lot of nations from different parts of Africa coming to study our parliament.
The gateway to Africa in many ways.
All
and in many
those
senses.
things. And look at the abysmal nature in which we are dealing with the Galamsey menace. We're treating with kid gloves.
It's embarrassing.
No, it's disgraceful. It's disgraceful.
Because you have, I don't know about you, but so I have friends, family members, acquaintances abroad, and they're hearing about this, and they're asking you questions. You don't even know what to say.
You can't say anything. You can't defend it.
And these are people that you are convincing, if it's family or friends or people who have some kind of Ghanaian lineage, you've been convincing them to come back to Ghana, come and contribute their quota. And then if it's African Americans, for example, other members of the diaspora, the Afro nation, let's call it that way, then you're convincing them to repatriate. Also come and add it's home. And then they're hearing all these stories. Really?
What are they coming home to? Really.
And we're saying beyond the return. We had the year of return, beyond the return. And people hear these stories. They're reading these news articles, and it makes it seem as, you see, with the economic situation, that's one thing. You can say that globally we're facing challenges. But with something like Galamsey, which you don't see anywhere else in the world, how do you explain that to people? That this is what our country is condoning.
And even with the economics, I look at it. Last time I was having a conversation, and I was like, even with the economics, we keep referring to the global nature of the challenge. But as we do that, we also need to accept that not everybody has made a complete mishmash of dealing with it.
No.
Being exposed to the same global factors. The same global factors. In fact, some people are even profiting on the opportunity that the challenges create.
Yesterday I was...
really?
I joined a virtual conference. And, I was busy, so I was just dipping in and out. But one of the key conversations was how the global downturn is affecting developing countries, And then Galamsey came up out of nowhere. I logged off the thing. I knew the people.
You are coming to come and ask you, actually.
It's quite frankly, I don't know. Well, I'm very happy that we've been walking across the country over the past few weeks to see what the effects are, and particularly with water challenges. Because don't forget that we say water is life for a reason. And we've spoken here, even this week, we've spoken about the importance of potable water, the gains we've made as a country, the campaigns that existed over the past 25, 30 years, our WASH program. And look, we are just coming out of COVID, for crying out loud. And we saw how important running water, clean running water was for the survival or to overcome this thing. And then we're sitting here playing with a situation that is messing with our access to potable water. And we think it's funny.
Anyway, you know, our colleague who put this report together has joined us on the line. Calvis Tete is joining us this morning. He's a Central Regional Correspondent for Citi TV and Citi FM. Calvis, good morning.
Good morning, David.
Yes, how are you doing this morning?
Well, I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
Not bad at all. Where are you right now?
Well, I am in Cape Coast as we speak now.
Okay.
Earlier, I went to such a Imang area to, follow up on activities of illegal mining and how it's impacting negatively on the Ghana Water Company Limited treatment plant at Citi Imang.
Okay.
David, it is quite sad if you go to that area, to look at the nature of the water and how galamsey activities is destroying our water bodies, and the Ghana Water Company Limited, who are suppliers of water, who are complaining that this activity is having a dire effect on their operations, one, and then it is also costing them in terms of money. The money they put into making the water clean for public consumption, a lot goes into it as compared to some time back where they spend very few chemicals in treating the water. So, David, it's quite a sad situation here in such a Lower District.
So, Calvis, good morning. Apioko here. I have a question for you. As you're interacting with the people in the communities, as you're traveling and you're assessing the situation for yourself, are people complaining about their access to water? Has it changed over time? Are they aware how galamsey is affecting the situation? Have you had any conversations like that?
Well, I interacted with the traditional authorities as well as members of the community. The traditional authorities raised some questions that on several occasions they have tried to caution people about these galamsey activities. And it's interesting to note that every time they try to do that, people call them, threatening them and all that why are they trying to support their business? So you realize that traditional authorities have been shut down in that area, because the more they complain, they believe the more the central government will act, and that the people who are engaged in these galamsey activities don't want them to complain, that they should sit and watch as they destroy the water. But I spoke to members of the community with regard to the issues. This is the community, that is engaged in farming for a living. Farmers are saying that now they don't have potable water to, those who are engaged in farming don't have potable water to water their crops. And sometimes they have to travel as miles just to fetch water to come and water their crops because they don't know if the water they are using is contaminated or not. Right. People have also been forced to resort to the drinking of sachet water. This is a local community, and as Ghanaians, our local settings, you drink from the streams that flow through the community, but that is not the case here, as they have been forced to buy sachet water, which comes at a cost to them at your cost.
Of course.
So, Calvis, when you look at the situation at Citi Imang, how does this replicate itself across the central region, looking at the other places that Ghana Water has outfits, it has its production points?
Well, the Ghana Water Company Limited treatment plant, according to them, I spoke to them and they were saying that sometimes the money that is involved in treating the water is huge. Initially, for instance, they are using just 100 cities. Now they have to use 300 cities. And they have also resorted to the filtering of their equipment because the funds that come from the galamsey activity choke their equipment. They said some equipment that are supposed to last for 30 years now just last for a year or two. And they have to spend extra money in purchasing some of these equipment. Because, and filtering these, treating these machines comes at a cost. Now, that has become part of them now because of galamsey activity. They are worried that government, it's time for government to act because, looking at how the extent of damage it has caused their treatment plant, and this is a treatment plant that supplies water to over 50 communities in the central region, over 50 communities in the central region. So you can imagine the extent of damage it is causing to Ghana Water Company Limited. The authorities are telling me that they believe something can be done. The fight against illegal mining should be serious, and that it is destroying their equipment. It is destroying their operations. They're actually worried, David.
Well, I mean, do you, okay, let me ask like this, put it this way. When you look at, let's say, 4 or 5 years ago, the way Galamsey had dealt with our rivers and other water bodies, how do you feel about the fight against Galamsey as we speak?
Well, David, from what I saw there around the Praia River, I think the fight against Galamsey, we are failing as a nation in the fight against illegal mining. Because even according to the Ghana Water Company Limited, sometimes while they are there trying to fix their plants, you just hear the machines, the champa and all those, the people there at the back of the river are still working, muddying the water. And then Ghana Water Company Limited at the other end are also trying to treat the water. So you see that scenario, which is, you feel more should be done. So that the fight against Galamsey is far from over, and the government must act that if care is not taken, we might be importing water as a nation, David.
Wow. Well, Calvis, we appreciate your time this morning. Thank you very much for the report as well. So that was Calvis Tete who brought us that report from Citi, the Ghana Water Company production unit over there. It's a dire situation, and you see, we keep talking about this, and for me, there's no way I'm going to get tired of talking about this until we start to see results. Is it depressing? Sometimes it is. Is it upsetting? Every day it is. But I think that for us here on the show at Breakfast Daily, the call is a higher one, a call to making sure that the future of this nation is saved. If we continue down the path that we are, acting as though we are interested in fixing Galamsey, but the questions that keep coming up, the real players, the real financiers are not being dealt with. No, we've not seen a single financier arrested and paraded as a financier of Galamsey. All we see are the quote-unquote small fry, small fish in the sea, virtually non-entities that nobody really cares about. Those are the ones who are being arrested. And we are saying, yeah, we're winning the fight against Galamsey. That's nonsense. In reality, the people that dole out money to keep these poor people vested and in the fields and in the river bodies and in the forest, digging harmful exposure to chemicals, to all sorts of dangers, to pits collapsing, and all of that. Those people who are removing money from their pockets and keeping these vulnerable people in the river bodies, chasing after the wind, literally. Those are the people that we should be arresting and putting them behind bars for breaking all the laws that they've broken. If we say we are serious, that is what we should be seeing. And so therefore, if we don't see it, what does it mean?
Look, this morning the quote of the day said what? When you get cancer, it changes the way you live for the rest of your life. Galamsey is a cancer.
It is. It is.
It's a cancer.
It is.
And it's a cancer that's spreading. Look, we've visited different regions. And within the regions, we visited different communities, different constituencies, different districts, and the story is the same. The story is the same. We're seeing, of course, this morning we're talking about water and the effects that Galamsey is having on our water bodies and by extension on the operations of the Ghana Water Company Limited, which means, of course, it's affecting the water that we consume and that we use, right? But the other effects, we've spoken about mutations that we're seeing in children who are being born, stillbirths. We've spoken about people falling into pits and dying.
Yeah.
We've spoken about people inhaling chemicals and becoming sick.
Yeah.
We've seen so many different angles to this, and I really don't know what we are waiting for. And let's not forget that there's a man who died in the name of fighting Galamsey.
Yes.
And we put up
exactly.
a statue for his wife and his children.
Yeah.
Major Mahama's wife and children are living and having to see. How do you think they feel?
That their father died for what? For what?
Look, I don't know what we want to do with this. Those who have the power to do what they may. If we are not going to do anything about it, and when I say do anything about it, I'm not talking about the bits and bobs that we're doing now. We're not going to do anything about it. Go hard, crack the whip, put people in prison where they need to be put in prison. Find people. Get people to pay people's hospital bills if they have to. Or pay the Ghana Water Company.
Yeah.
For the kind of challenges they're facing.
Yeah.
For not going to get these people who are doing this thing to us, to Ghana, to Ghanaians. We're not going to hold them accountable, then tell us, so that we stop wasting our breath.
Yeah.
Just tell us. Let's stop pretending. Let's stop the parades and the charades. We're tired of it.
Yeah. So
and you see, it's no, and I'm saying it's a cancer and it has spread because we can no longer say, oh, in the Galamsey communities, oh, in some farming communities, oh, in the river communities. It is affecting us all over the country.
So as at May 13th, 2017, this is 2017 is 5 years ago. Okay, so as at 5 years ago, there was an article written by the Business and Human Rights Resource Center, okay, and it said that 60% of water bodies polluted due to illegal mining and other activities, say authorities. And it goes on here, and they're quoting Mr. Ben Ampoma, who is the executive secretary of the commission, at a workshop that they held in Ho, saying that 60% of Ghana water bodies are polluted. Okay, now here's what I'm thinking. 5 years ago, the situation was actually considerably better than it is today.
Yes, and I remember it like it was yesterday.
So if we are not approaching 90% by now, I'll be surprised.
Because look, 5 years ago, 4 years ago, the conversation was that if we didn't do something drastic to fix the situation, to halt it in its steps, by 2030, we'd be importing water. We are in 2022. In fact, 2022, we have precious little time left of it. Let's even say we are in 2023. Now, 5 years have passed. 5 years have passed. 5 years and 7 years, what's the difference?
Not much.
If you're 40 years old today, I'm sure you can remember when you were 32 or 33 or 35. If you're 20 years old today, person can remember when they were 15. In fact, even if you are 50, you remember when you were 20. So it's not that far away. And we're saying, oh, by 2030 we'll be importing water. It doesn't mean that's not going to be a gradual hit. We'll start experiencing it in water rationing. And we're already seeing that. Already the water, we have problems with it. Even taking Galamsey out of the mix, we have problems with it.
You're looking at a place like Ashanti region, where it really should be producing about 20 million gallons per day, and are only able to produce about 2 million. So already there are whole areas like the Ashanti region, like Western region, they are actually rationing water. The entire region has been experienced. It's like rationing of water has become normal for Ghanaians. There are very few neighborhoods in this entire country that receive regular potable water on a daily basis.
Look, I know some people who live.
It's another level of the conversation.
Within Greater Accra. I'm not even going to go far. Within Greater Accra, and then the parts of the central region, so the Kasua area, those areas that are still very close to Greater Accra, that you can think they are Greater Accra, even though they are central region. And these people, when they moved, maybe further into the city, right? they tell you that they didn't know that we had running water, water that came from taps in Ghana. Yes, and I'm telling you,
Yeah.
they didn't know that we had water running from taps in Ghana. Because for them, it's always been a well, a borehole. They have to buy water and put it into a tank.
Yeah.
Something,
So already
something ridiculous
there's
like
a
that.
major challenge with provision
Already.
of water across the country. There's already a challenge that.
And as for that, we can talk about that on another day as to why that's the case. Lack of planning of our communities, urban spaces just springing up, and nobody is stopping them or controlling it or licensing people to build where they're supposed to build. There's so many reasons. But we are dealing with that.
And duty bearers making excuses and saying, "Yeah, we talk to the paper, but they don't mind that."
We're dealing with that. And now you come and add illegal mining activities and what they're doing to the water bodies. Of course, we're headed downhill.
Yeah.
And we're headed downhill at a fast pace, and we will crash and burn. And then I would like to see how we think we can fix the situation.
Well, we've been joined by Emmanuel Kofi Tete, who is the Regional Quality Assurance Manager of Ghana Water Company Limited. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Welcome to Breakfast Daily. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine.
Okay.
How about you?
Not bad, thank you. Thank you for asking. How serious does Ghana Water Company Limited take the current dilemma that we are facing as a nation?
Please, could you come over again?
I'm saying that how seriously does Ghana Water Company Limited take the current dilemma that we're facing in terms of, first of all, unavailability of enough water that they can process for the different communities that they are processing water for?
Okay, thank you very much, and good morning to your very good listeners. Please, if you could kindly be specific, the area, region, or wherever.
No, so we're referring to the central region. We're referring to the central region specifically. But you work with Ghana Water, so I mean it's a hierarchical issue. So I'm sure you've sat in different meetings and you have a general understanding of Ghana Water's position on the different issues that are going on. You can speak to central region's own right now.
Okay, thank you very much. In fact, treating potable water to the population of Ghana has been a major challenge as a result of the current menace of illegal mining that is affecting most of our raw water sources. To be specific to central region, I'll refer to the Fra River, where our human water treatment plant absorbs raw water entry. As of now, the intake or the raw water source is filtered with sediment generated from the illegal activity. So as a result of that, even the raw water that you are treating already, you have about 20% of it, which is silt or sediment, that you cannot do anything with it. And you and I know that there is no system which is 100% efficient. So if you take this 20% out and you treat the 80%, will also come along with treatment losses, which also will further reduce the quantity that you will get out of X amount that we have started to treat and then supply to the public. So this is a very challenge. And not that one alone. It is making the treatment also very difficult, cumbersome for us, because at times we would have to practice something that we call restricted process. As you extract the water, you allow it to sit in a tank, settle for some time before you can work on it into the sediment. This activity is also having a heavy toll on our installation, basically at the intake. Just last year, we have had to change all our intake pumps as a result of this. And when it comes to the treatment center itself, we have to be doing regular dislodging. And with this, we lose a lot of water. Regular dislodging, we lose a lot of water over there. And then we lose some of the chemical that we have added, like the coagulant, alum that we have added already to treat the water. We some of them as a process. And then if you go to the next treatment process case, which is the filtration, there also you have to prevent mouthwashing as a result of this same menace. So you lose water, and then electricity also comes in. You will always have to start a pump to pump water onto the filter, to start a blower, and that one comes with a high consumption of electricity, which is affecting the other water completely. Not that one alone. Because of this same menace, one will have to regularly clean our receptacles that holds the treated water before it is distributed to the consumers in the distribution network. So this is what I have at the moment.
Manuel, it seems like you have a big challenge on your hands.
Yes.
Looking at the situation now, do you see it getting to a point where you may not be able to bear the cost anymore?
I can say yes or no. No, because now Ghana Water is doing its best to handle what is there. We are doing our best to handle it, because without water there's nothing, no ability to go on. And yet, because if we don't do anything to forestall this menace, a time will come that we will have to maybe import water to augment our water supply in the country.
Yeah, so if that's the case, then it means that you're going to be transferring all of that to the consumer at the end of the day, because you can't subsidize, can you?
Yes, of course, but water tariff or utility tariff is being regulated by URC.
Right.
Yes.
So yes, Ghana Water cannot say we're going to transfer it, but if it seems it fits, the PURC knows everything, knows all our duties. So maybe with time they will have to regulate it or adjust it upward to commensurate the various treatment costs. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Well, Mr. Tete, we appreciate your time. Thank you very much for speaking with us. We've been talking to Manuel Kofi Tete, who is the Regional Quality Assurance Manager for Ghana Water Company over in the Central Region. All right. So I think we should take a quick break.
Yes, we should.
We'll come back, and I'm sure you've been paying some extra, prices if you've been taking trotro and taxis in the last couple of days. We'll be coming back to talk about all of that.